Hey everyone, welcome to the third edition of NoDQ Live here on the NoDQ.com Facebook page, actually my personal Facebook page at facebook.com/AaronRift. Thank you all for tuning in live. The on-demand version, of course, going on the YouTube page, youtube.com/AaronRift NoDQ. Got some questions here from people. J-Ro asking about Heath's profile on SmackDown, being added to the SmackDown roster. I just missed that already. These questions come in too fast, I end up missing them if I don't read them off right away. So go ahead and send me your questions. Do the WWE titles look generic? A lot of them look the same, but I like the Cruiserweight title, even though they have the X's there, which is a little interesting. Reminds people of TNA, but I like the color scheme of the new Cruiserweight title. Broken Matt Hardy is the best over character in wrestling. I love Matt Hardy. I think he's doing a great job. I've said it several times. I'm a fan of Broken Matt Hardy, and I think that he's doing good things for TNA. Do you think Clash of Champions will be a good pay-per-view? Yes, I thought Backlash was a good pay-per-view, even though a lot of people thought I was critical of that pay-per-view. I think that Clash of Champions has the potential to be a very good show. I mean, WWE rarely has bad pay-per-views in this day and age. Who is your favorite wrestler right now? I'd have to say AJ Styles or Sami Zayn. I mean, both of those guys are just tearing it up in the ring right now. Who is better overall, American Alpha or Revival? Good question. I think a lot of it has to do with taste. I think American Alpha is doing a tremendous job, and they're getting the comparisons to Shelton Benjamin, Charlie Haas, and the Revival are getting comparisons to Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard. So it's just a matter of what you like. If you like more of the scientific wrestling, then you're probably going to like the Revival more. But both teams are great. Both teams are really adding a lot to the tag team division on Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, even though they're all on separate shows. Just the overall tag team division. Who is your favorite female wrestler right now? I'd have to say Bayley. I think Bayley is one of the most likable characters in WWE, and she's something different from what we've seen over the past decade, even 2 decades. Just somebody who's very likable and just a really good performer in the ring, and it's hard to hate her. I mean, she's just such a positive character. And the whole hugging thing, I mean, it's great. It's something totally different, which I like. Who would win, The Rock or John Cena in a UFC match? That's hard to say. I mean, I really don't know. Maybe I would go with The Rock just because I think that he has a little bit more athletic ability. He played football. John Cena was more into the bodybuilding and that sort of thing. But both of them are very athletic. So it's hard to say. I really don't know. That's a very difficult question to answer. No, I do not follow Lucha Underground. I've answered this many times before. I was watching some of it. Just not my cup of tea. Should Vince McMahon retire? No, Vince is still running WWE today. Despite what some people think, he is still the person who makes the final decisions. And yeah, maybe he's out of touch to some degree, but he's the best businessman in the history of professional wrestling. And WWE can always use the guidance and knowledge of Vince McMahon. What is your all-time favorite B pay-per-view? Putting me on the spot here. I really enjoyed the 2005 Vengeance pay-per-view. I love No Way Out 2008, but I have a bias because I was at that event. But both Elimination Chamber matches were awesome. Big Show having the segment with Floyd Mayweather. That was a really entertaining show. The 2006 Unforgiven in Toronto with Cena versus Edge, TLC. Do you think that... I just missed it. Who do you think should be the next Celebrity Hall of Famer? I think it should be Andy Kaufman. I've said this before. Should WWE have a 6-man tag team title? Absolutely 100%. I think that would be something different. If WWE is going to introduce a new championship, then it should be something we haven't seen before in WWE. And we haven't seen a trios championship. And they have a lot of trios teams. At least they have had a lot of trios teams over the years. Will Demolition get into the Hall of Fame? I don't know if they will or not, but I think 100% they should be in the Hall of Fame. By the way, if this cuts off prematurely, my phone battery is down to 20%. That's the only problem with me doing this video right now. I might end up losing you guys. So if I do, I apologize. I'll go as long as my battery holds up. Thoughts on the Chris Benoit movie? I think that it's something that is an interesting topic. and I do not blame people for wanting to make a movie about his life. It's all very interesting. So I will definitely check it out and see how they portray Benoit and how accurate it is. I mean, that'll be really interesting to see how the whole thing comes off when it's finished. Should Cyndi Lauper be in the celebrity wing of the Hall of Fame? 100% absolutely. She was definitely a factor in getting more eyeballs watching the WWE product. She was part of the whole rock and wrestling. Absolutely, no questions about it. Favorite women's wrestler ever? I think I'd have to go with Trish Stratus. I think most people would go with Trish. She was the total package of the women. I mean, she had the looks, she had the in-ring ability, she had the charisma, the personality. I mean, everything. When you look at all the attributes, she had it. Which WrestleMania do you like the most? My personal favorite WrestleMania is 19. I like 17 besides the Austin heel turn. And big fan of WrestleMania 31 and 21. But again, I was at those events and I have a bias because of that. Greatest Hulk Hogan match. Maybe the match with Ultimate Warrior. I think that was one of the most historic matches. Also, Hogan versus Andre, even though it was not a technical masterpiece by any stretch of the imagination. The body slam was still one of the most memorable spots in wrestling history. And yeah, I think I would go with Hogan and Warrior as the most memorable. Also, Hogan versus Savage from WrestleMania 5. How should Kane go out? In a blaze of glory. See what I did there? T.J. Perkins or Ricochet? That's a tough question. I mean, both of them are tremendous athletes. They do some incredible stuff in the ring, and those guys really defy gravity. I mean, Neville isn't the only guy that gravity forgot. Those two guys can do some amazing things. It's really hard to make a pick. Thoughts on the Young Bucks? A great tag team. I remember watching the Young Bucks back in 2006 in a indie show in Lancaster, California, in front of about 100 people, and they stood out to me then. And I think that they've really been able to make themselves successful, very successful on the indie scene, and I think 100% WWE should sign them. And I would be shocked if the Young Bucks don't end up in WWE in the next year or so. Do you think Shelton Benjamin should be, how do you think Shelton Benjamin should be introduced when he returns? That's a good question. I think they should just try and do what they were going to do with him and do the video packages and build him up and introduce him to the younger fans and just let him go out there and do his thing, and I think he'll be just fine. Do you think Mick Foley will be replaced as GM? Probably. I don't think it's going to be a long-term thing with Foley. I think one of the main reasons he came in was to promote his Holy Foley series with his daughter, and I could see changes being made eventually, maybe 6 months to a year down the line. You know, WWE moves on to somebody else just to shake things up a little bit. So, you know, I think he'll have like a 6-month run, maybe even a little bit longer as the GM. Is Seth Rollins a babyface? I would assume so. Who is your favorite TNA wrestler of all time? Probably AJ Styles or Samoa Joe. Do you think the scissor kick would be a good finisher for Seth Rollins? I guess so. I mean, I wish they would bring back the curb stomp, but if not, then yeah, scissors kick might be a good move. I mean, I really do not have a preference as to what his finishing move is. What do you think about Kevin Owens as the Universal Champion? Awesome. I feel that he's definitely deserving of that spot, and he's one of the very best performers in the entire wrestling industry right now. He's just tearing it up. Great promo, great athletic ability for his size. I mean, he's one of the best. Who's more over, Rock or Cena? Well, in terms of box office, The Rock is in a league that few can compare to. The Rock is one of the most successful superstars in WWE history. But John Cena has done very well in his own right. But yeah, if we're talking about pure box office dollars, I mean, The Rock is right up there next to Steve Austin and Hulk Hogan. Should WWE be concerned about the ratings dip? A little bit, but at the end of the day, the goal of the brand extension was to boost SmackDown's numbers, and so far SmackDown's numbers have been way up, and that's going to be seen as a positive. And, you know, wrestling is not as popular as it used to be, but as long as WWE is continuing to make a profit, even if the ratings are down, I still see USA Network being happy, and it's unlikely we're going to see any kind of real changes. I mean, as long as they're making money, they're going to keep doing what they're doing regardless of the TV ratings or house show attendance. I mean, it's really how much money they're making. Are they making enough? Who's the biggest star you ever met? Probably RVD. Thinking about guys that I've met over the years. Yeah, I would say RVD. Do you think the Cruiserweight division will flourish into something big or digress over time? That's a great question. I'm hopeful that they'll keep it strong, and I think with Triple H having the influence, it will stay strong. And I think it's good long-term to be strong in WWE because it's something different, and it adds a little bit of variety to Raw. And what made Nitro successful back in the day was the variety. You had the Cruiserweights to counteract the star power of Hogan and Savage, the slower pace stuff compared with the faster pace stuff of the Cruiserweight. So I definitely feel for a 3-hour show, it's a very welcomed addition. What if Heath Slater wins the 2017 Royal Rumble? Will not happen. I would say I would shave my head if it happened, but we know what happened last time I made that bet with Zack Ryder. We saw where that went, so I'm not going to jinx myself. Your thoughts on the jobber with no chin? I think he's awesome. I love the fact that he's becoming a recurring character. He's kind of like the new Dwayne Gill / Gilbert. I think they should keep using him and just find ways to throw him on the show in some completely ridiculous scenario. I love it. I'm glad they brought back the enhancement talent. I know, again, it's adding variety to the show, and it's changing things up a bit. So I'm all for these squash matches. Do you think the SmackDown Women's Division is better than Raw's? Not really. I mean, on Raw, you have Sasha Banks and Bayley, and that's really strong. But then again, SmackDown has Becky Lynch. I mean, it's a tough call. I mean, Nikki Bella is a talented performer. She's gotten better. And you have Alexa Bliss, Natalya on SmackDown. It is a tough call. I mean, I think they're fairly even, actually, at this point. If Rock and Austin stayed around, would John Cena and Randy Orton be as popular as they are? Probably, because eventually WWE would have to phase out the older guys and start pushing younger talent. So, it's only a matter of time before guys start to get phased out. I think Rock and Austin would have phased down even if Rock's movie career hadn't taken off, and even if Austin wasn't as seriously hurt as he was. I think both of them would have slowly been phased down for the younger guys like John Cena and Randy Orton and Brock Lesnar and so on. Why are you and Noah beefing? We're not beefing. We're totally cool. What's next for Dean Ambrose? Probably losing at No Mercy. Alright guys, this was a little short video. I would like to thank you all for watching. Had a very strong turnout tonight. I appreciate it. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest regarding the upcoming Clash of Champions pay-per-view. And subscribe, youtube.com/NoDQCAW or Aaron Riff NoDQ. Check out my personal channel at youtube.com/Aaron Rift, and I will see you guys next time for another edition of No DQ&A Live, or No DQ Live, whichever you prefer.